shit changes, you still got to fulfill that order.
Hey, Turtle, have you ever like years ago I came across this site, it's called Cuban Genealogy. I'm not sure if it's cubangenealogy.com.org or whatever it is, but I was playing around with it, and it shows you like certain people, I guess, of like a prominence or whatever, and it says where they was born. And there was a couple of the records that, well, not the records exactly because they showed the actual records, but what they had on there was showing people that were in Cuba in 1142.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking at this like you got 11, 12, 1300s. I'm like, all right, so what the hell is this deal with Columbus? If you people got records of people in Cuba, but you're saying they was born in Grenada. So what happened either with the year, the timeline, or what are y'all leaving out as far as people coming up here?
Because you gotta figure this was a 700-year period that the Moors was in control of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
So this was what started in like 300 and like the 4th century somewhere.
Yeah.
Like it was like the middle of the 4th century, and it lasted up until or was it the 7th century? I'm sorry.
It was Rome left in 400 AD,
like the 8th century.
and the Moors came in 711. So for 200 years, Visigoths and all the other different Vandal groups was controlling that territory, and that's when the Moors came up. They actually came up in 710, and then they came back.
That's longer. That's longer than the Europeans have been here.
Yeah. Who controlled the territory before the Moors? It was Rome, and then when Rome pulled out, it was kind of a free fall, and that's when the Visigoths
pulled
and
out,
the German nations.
It wasn't that Rome pulled out; it was shit descended into the Dark Ages.
Nah, because Rome pulled out of Britain, and then the Visigoths and the Vandals and all the Germanic tribes came, and that's what brought about the Dark Ages. The Vandals, the Visigoths, all them people, the hordes, the Germanic hordes.
Those are the people that the Great Wall of China was built for, right?
I don't know about these are Germanic people.
Nah,
these are the Lombards. Yeah, we're talking about the Lombards.
We're talking about the Mongols.
No, not the Mongols, but the Mongols made it all the way over to Europe.
To where?
To Western Europe.
Oh yeah.
The Mongols took over Europe.
That's later though, bro. Like that's
so
much, like what are we doing? We're talking about what was going on in Spain. I don't even know how we got here. Oh, dealing with the Columbus shit. But I just showed you that video to show that what was going on in Spain was way more in depth than what the history book is teaching you.
Yeah.
Like if you think people wasn't traveling around the world prior to 1492, that's just
okay. So let's say
not by accident back then.
So now we're establishing that we had Moors coming to North America prior to 1492. So then why is it that if you're black and was in North America prior to 1492, it automatically denotes that you're some aboriginal North American?
Because the 18 whatever Webster's dictionary defines aboriginal as the people that they found here when they got here. But like I tell people, them people could have came here years before the white people.
Aboriginal means this by actual definition. If I look it up, at least right now, aboriginal means you are not only indigenous to a place, but you have never ever been to another other place ever. You're untampered with. You're pure to that place. Indigenous just means we're from here. You know what I mean? We could have ancestral roots, DNA that can maybe travel beyond that. Basically, our roots is here.
I think your definition of aboriginal kind of limits the people.
Kind of limits.
It's not his definition. No,
what is that's good. Definitely, this is not my definition. I think you need to look up the word. This is what the word actually means.
Say, they've never been anywhere.
Let's just do it like this. Let's just do it like this because you just said it's my definition. Let me pull it up right now. Man. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, because I've never seen. I I've never seen it where it says like they've never been anywhere else. It says the
See,
first inhabitants of a
let me say
place.
this. The whole argument about people migrating here is undermined by the 1828 Webster's Dictionary.
Right, 1828.
Yeah, because people define Aboriginal like it says Aboriginal is defined by such and such, right? What does the etymology have to do with it? The etymology of Aboriginal? The etymology of Aboriginal will show that Aboriginal is not an indigenous American name. So why would you be calling yourself that? But we'll look it up.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. Everybody's trying to prove who they are through European stuff.
Right.
Aboriginal is not an indigenous, it doesn't represent any nations in America. It's a term that people use to describe people. And the people that described them just came here. So how would they know if they're Aboriginal or if they came here 10 years ago? See what I'm saying?
Right.
How would they know that? If I just moved to Brooklyn, who am I to determine who's been living in Brooklyn longer than anybody? I don't know who these people are. I've been here for 20 years. It's families that have been here 40 years. Who am I to say all of y'all are, everybody here before me is an Aboriginal and indigenous to Brooklyn because they were here before me? That sounds like some white people shit. That sounds like some entitlement. That sounds like the world evolves around us. And that sounds like I discovered America. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not taking an account of what the actual people there are doing. So if you're saying based on the 1828 dictionary, everybody that they encountered in the Americas is Aboriginal, you're not leaving any room for their individual stories. So when somebody like me tells you the Cherokee migrated from Asia, y'all want to argue with us because that definition says Aboriginals were here when the Europeans got here, and they identified Cherokee as Aboriginals. So by definition, they must have been here forever. They come from the dirt. That's the reasoning people are using.
I mean, granted, though, there are some tribes that do say that.
No, bro. What tribe don't say it? And then tell me their real traditions, because people be speaking for tribes and you don't even know the traditions. Tell me the traditions of whatever tribe you're going to speak for. I'll like this is see what I'm saying? Like I'm only qualified, and I'm probably not as qualified as way more other people, but I can speak on my people's traditions, and I even have a piece of literature that can help me convey it to you, right?
Yeah, but
Because,
your tribal traditions aren't the same as your origin
bro,
story.
listen to what I'm saying. So if you listen, bro, if you're saying there are tribes that say they're from here, bring them and let them share with us their creation story so we can learn it. I'm not saying it's not the truth. I'm saying go so we can learn their story. Because I hear all y'all talking Turtle Island. I don't hear y'all talking about no other creation myths.
Y'all, I'm me.
On all reality, though, if they want to be way far out, we can just say the wall in the loom is no different than the book of Genesis.
Yep.
Hey, but look.
Don't put me no y'all. I'm me.
I'm talking to the people in general.
All right.
But so we talking about Aboriginal, right? So Aboriginal, according to the Webster, being the first or earliest known of its kind present in a region.
That's it. Being the earth, right? Read it again. First or earliest known. Doesn't mean that they absolutely came from that place. Because how would you know that? How could you tell that? How can you tell a random dog that walks down the street? How can you tell where he's from and how long he's been there if you don't know shit about them?
The second one is related to the people who have been in the region from the earliest time, or relating to Aborigines.
That's from the 1828.
Mm-hmm. Now, how would these Europeans who just got there know that these people been there from the earliest of time? They just assume that, just like everybody else is.
Do they got the word indigenous in there too?
Yes, it does.
And you know what a synonym? They also got synonym in there. You know what a synonym is?
Yeah. No, I'm just curious, just because I want to see the actual differences in the definitions.
They're synonyms. There really ain't much of a difference.
Yeah, I know.
Produce, growing, living, or occurring natively or naturally in a particular region or environment.
See, that don't mean the same.
It's synonymous with native. Lesser commonly relating to the earliest known inhabitants of a place, and especially of a place that was colonized by a now dominant group.
Now check this out. So more means land. What language does more mean land in? Because that's where you can use that. More means land in England.
Yep.
It's an English term. More means land in England, not in the Americas. You won't find that in any indigenous language. So you can use that to make claims on land in England.
Yeah, more means like there's like 28 different definitions for more.
Mm-hmm.
More can mean like swampy land, can mean desolate, dirty, can't grow nothing.
Like, so you got to apply these things. Like more don't mean land in general everywhere on the planet.
Yeah, you gotta put that shit in its context.
Language don't work like that. Language don't work like that. Just because it means something somewhere and holds a jurisdiction in one land, don't mean you can take that language and put it someplace else. And now, ain't no more land in America.
Just like M&R don't mean more in ancient Egypt.
No, people. I mean, people want to get slide their little more stuff in. You could say everything you said without even saying more. I read it earlier. It was like the such and such more, the Sri Lankan more. Why they not just Sri Lankan?
No, that's because of the Moors that came over there. That's what made the difference between them. Sri Lankans and all that, and the Maori.
Why are they Moors? Why didn't not just
Muslim?
No, but Muslim is that's a belief. That's not a people.
No, it's a belief, but it's a people that have that belief that actually took over that area, and the more
I can convert to be a Muslim tomorrow.
But you know what I'm saying.
Here we go, ancient Egypt. Oh, listen, I want you to please come up and prove this.
You said what?
Ancient Egypt is in America. Please come up.
Yeah,
and
I love that
this.
bullshit. I can destroy
Please.
that. Let's
I'm about to drop this.
I knew he was one of them niggas who was listening to that.
We're gonna be quiet. And we gonna be
one of them niggas.
Nah, I want to hear.
Especially when he said Jerusalem, especially when he said the Jerusalem part. Yeah, let's bring this bullshit. I'm ready for this one.
Nah,
I want to hear this.
Like straight up, I don't know if whoever said that, I don't know if they agree with me or not, but both of them are really just symbolic. Just like Jerusalem was a symbolic word.
No, he said ancient Egypt is in America.
America's Egypt and how? Like what?
I just dropped the link.
Like
you
you
can come up.
about Egypt now.
Have y'all heard about the Osiris and Iris little statues that they found in Mexico?
That hasn't been verified.
Yes, I heard of that.
Let me say this: Osiris and who?
Iris. Isis.
Hold
up.
Because once again, because what you say earlier about not being in India or whatever, like you ain't seen them statues, neither have I.
Yeah. So now we want to talk about Osiris and Isis.
Because I don't like
there's none of them. They're just saying that.
Like every time I bring up something, the shit that I try to. I'm about to be out, man. No. Every time I try to bring up something, shit,
my bad, fam. Go ahead, speak, bro.
The head shit got jumped around, and I lost in the.
Speak your spill, bro.
No, bro, listen, just let the bro talk, bro.
I'm about to smoke my shit. It's late. You know what I mean? I'm gonna holler at y'all, man.
All right, bro. So this is what I'm gonna talk about. Irish. What do you say? Isis and Osiris.
Yeah.
So we already know right off the bat, whoever's reporting this information to you is coming from a Greek perspective. We already know that from the rip.
Yeah.
Right?
No, what they found in Mexico is basically what they found. Basically, what they say Isis and Osiris like in Egypt is what they found little small, like probably maybe 5 inches tall. Maybe I'm not exactly sure of the size, but it was very similar to the Isis and Osiris that they found in Egypt.
Mori derives from the English term Moors. More, oh my goodness.
More,
so you think Mori comes from the English term Moor. It was the Latin designation for the Berber population of Mauritania. Mori, which derives from the English term Moor. I'll make sure I'm reading this right. The Latin designation for the Berber population of Mauritania. That's right. I don't know about the Mori deriving from Moors. I think Moor derives from Mori.
Yeah, it's
Okay, I'm reading it right.
or
From
is
which,
it like
yeah,
Sri Lanka or something
yeah.
like that. I forget
So that's
exactly.
no.
It's,
I'm talking about. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Mori. Yeah, that's all. That's all proper. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? But those people are like Mauritanians. They call themselves Mauritanians. They call themselves Moroccans. They don't call themselves Moors. That's just a
yeah.
term. That's just a friendly term, but it's not a real. You know what I'm saying?
And
Now, old
a lot of them
Mex,
people over there, they don't fast head niggas.
old Mexim is ridiculous.
Yes.
Amarok is ridiculous. America's a Morocco is a ridiculous. All that comes from the term Al Maghrib, which means land furthest west. But the land furthest west from the Middle East is West Africa. It's not America.
Unless you're talking about past the Straits of Gibraltar.
Maxim is a Moorish finesse of Shaka Maxim, but they are
No.
not connected. No, they probably got the term from Shaka Maxim, right? But it's
Yeah.
not
I
synonymous.
translation. Yeah.
Maxim is a term that was introduced as being the original name of Africa. When the Moors claimed America was northwest Africa, they noticed that there was a place named Shaka Maxim, and they tried to combine the two to validate the shit they claimed. That's what that was. A Maxim come from Dr. Who said a Maxim was the name of Africa? Dr. Henry Clark or one of them said it.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was Taj.
Nah, he got it from John Henry Clark,
Oh, damn.
but there was never nothing shown to validate it. It's just something he said. And then people freaked it when they discovered Shaka Maxim was a real thing in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And then they tried to push the shit together and create to validate who they were. Lenape Moors are not funny. Lenape aren't Moors. You're attaching, it's like saying Lenape Negroes. Like you're just attaching a term to it to try to validate your position as being a Moor. Lenape aren't Moors.
The only Lenape Moors you'll have are in Delaware. And they were actually.
Bro, don't do that. Bro,
more.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Well,
Nope.
there's
Nope.
a small group that actually went legal with it.
Nope.
They
That's not
have
what
a
it was.
driver's license.
Nope. What happened was some shipwrecked Spaniards
Yes.
intermarried with some Nanticoke,
Yes.
right? They reference themselves as having Moorish heritage,
Yeah.
right? So they were identified as being a separate group of people. They grew to no more than 300 people, and they were not identified as an indigenous tribe. They were just a community that lived out, a farming community, and they were the term is
It was kind of like documented.
they practiced inbreeding.
Yeah. What's that called? Endogamy? No, not endogamy. Exogamy.
Endogamy.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah.
Sabir may have agreed, but that don't make it the truth. I know Sabir. Nobody talked about Shaka Maxim until I started talking about it. Phoenicians are from America and they taught the alphabet to Afro-Eurasians. Okay, come prove it. Come up and prove it. You can't. There's no way you could prove that.
See, I'm not going to step on that because honestly, I ain't going to really disagree with the bro on that. But
Well, then prove it.
No. That's why I'm not going to step on that right now because I got to finish my together.
That's why y'all sitting around thinking.
No, I'm not put my shit together because I can show you connection.
Can't show me no connections. All you can show is that people here use phonetic alphabet.
All right, I'm gonna tell you this, right? The connection between Africa and America, as far as like anciently, is
Phoenician. They just said Phoenician. You're saying Africa. I'm talking about Phoenicians.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Guanches, but predate the Phoenicians.
I just was talking. This man said the Phoenicians are the Americans, and you said you can't disagree with that. Now you're talking about something else.
No. I said I can't step on that. I'm not going to step on it like just step on it. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just
Because
gonna
you
leave
agree.
it because it's not because I agree with it all the way. There's certain parts that you got to put together
I
to
want
agree
people to
with.
come. Just don't say it. Come prove it. And like what? And this is another thing. What scholar before any of these people ever said that? What scholar said the Phoenicians are from America? What creditable scholar ever in the world said that?
You have to go back into 1800s for that.
So who was it?
Oh, man, what the fuck is his name, yo? No, it's not Rafinesse. Who the fuck? Actually, no, it might have been him. I forget who it is, yo. It might. I want to say Rafinesse, but I don't think it is.
Rafinesse said what?
Where he was connecting America to Africa. Who the fuck? See, I can't do it right now because it's deep in my notes somewhere. So I got it.
Never mind, I'm not like who you. This book I'm sitting here with. Who you think?
Was it Wallamallam?
Yeah, who you? Where you think you get that name Rafinesse from?
No, that's Spanish. That's like Sephardic Jewish. Jefe. Guanchi aren't white people. You better look up Idrisi. He was there before the so-called white people got there. And yes, a lot of Guanchis came to America as slaves or indentured servants or whatever. But my bad. Yeah. As far as the Wallamallam, that I really can't speak on it, bro, because that's your lane, and I got to learn from you on it.
No, but you talking about? I asked you for a source, and you said Rafinesse.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the source off the top of my head right now. And
So you don't have a source.
no, I just go, bro. It's going.
You don't have a source, and you saying things to keep people thinking.
No, I say what I say because I read and what I
people thinking. Why can't you leave? This is the issue, bro. Listen, people have conversations predicated on faulty prepositions. Like the whole body of the conversation, the whole body of the statement is wrong. So you can't have no possible conclusion. So what I'm saying to you is, you sitting up here saying the Phoenicians come from America. That's a faulty statement that you could never prove. And because you can never prove it, it's just going to keep floating out there. And because you're never going to accept that you can't prove it, you're going to keep suggesting it, and you're going to keep getting caught up in this perpetual cipher that keeps going around where you keep saying things to somebody and you can't prove it, and they tell you no, and then you just look for somebody else to say it to. And as soon as that person believes you, you'll now see what I'm saying, bro.
No, the reason why I said I'm not going to step on it because I have information that leads to that conclusion.
You don't have no information, or else you would present it, just like I present my information.
Please let me finish. I'm not that nigga who's going to talk at the side of my neck. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I will tell you that when I tell you something, it's because I've read it. It's because I've studied it or whatever. That may be conclusive. But
so
I can put it together. Hold on. I can put it together to show you why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm not going to tell you that is 100%. I'm not going to tell you there's this, but I can tell you this is why I say what I say.
That's not logic. So, like,
that is logic. If I'm sitting there presenting, you want me to put it together for you on why I'm taking Phoenicians over America, I can put that together for you. All that means is I'm showing you why I'm what I'm saying. It doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it wrong.
If your life was on the line, how much shit that come out your mouth would you not say?
The only thing I would not say if my life was on the line is I'm sorry.
If your life was on the line predicated on the things coming out your mouth being the truth, how much shit that you think, kind of, would you put your life on the line for something you think, kind of, maybe, let me think about it? No.
No.
You're going to bet your money on a hunch or see what I'm saying? Like, this is what
I just told you the truth.
It's how is the truth when you ain't validated?
Because I told you the truth is that I told you I can put together why
The
I
only truth is that you said it. That don't make it the truth.
no,
The
I just
truth
told
is
you
I
that.
said I can
What I
fly.
put together doesn't
The
make it the truth. It
truth is
doesn't make it a
I said
lie.
I can fly. That don't mean I can fly. But the truth is I said I can fly. That's
You're
the
taking
truth.
what I'm saying past tense, though. You're taking it out of
No,
context.
no, I'm not, bro.
You are, because I clearly said, bro, that what I say, I could put it together for you to show you why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm not
And I'm
saying that
thinking,
it's the truth. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just
and I'm
saying that I could put it
if
together to
you
show
really
you why.
could, you would have already done it. See, let
Again,
me
my
all right,
sources are not organized. That's my biggest problem. Is my shit is organized? 'Cause all this shit would have been already solved and disappeared by now if it was organized. Trust me.
you
And
know who
that
the largest
with
tribe
every.
in North America is? Documented, the largest documented tribe in North America. Do you know who they are?
Oh, say that again.
You know who the largest documented tribe in North America is?
No, not bad.
The largest documented tribe in North America is the Bautu tribe.
The
You
who?
never heard of them, the Bautu?
Yeah.
And I know you a member of the Bautu.
Nah, that's funny as shit though.
Bautu.
Nah. I'll give you that one.
And you don't get no rewards for what you're
All
about to do. You get rewards for what you've done.
right. Word.
So
Don't worry, I'm gonna remember that because
make
next
sure
time I
you
pull
get
up
the
on you,
Bautu shit, bro.
next time I pull up on you, I'm gonna do exactly what I said. I'm gonna show you why I'm saying what I'm saying.
But listen to what you're saying. I'm going to show you why I believe it. I don't want to know why you believe it. I want you to show me the truth.
Arguing against it, you're saying I'm full of shit because you're trying to take my words out of context.
No, you want me to look into what you believe. I want you to show me what you know. I don't want to sit with you looking to what you believe. Show me what you know so I can know it.
All right.
And if we all do that with each other, show each other what we know so somebody else
So,
can know it and not talk about what we think,
all right.
we'll be
No,
way better. Because
Right.
that's
what I
true.
think,
Because that's what the problem is that we're, and you were right, Brother Turtle, because in regards to where things have shifted from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, like the dialogue has changed where now you have social media. So it's almost like you can rewrite history. You can, again, cherry pick what you want to now throw in there and make certain things sound credible and make it stick when all along there have been books written with the real history, the truth. It's just that we got to dig in there. And some of us don't want to do that now because we have information at our fingertips. But and that's why the culture of us getting into research back in the 70s, 80s, we had no choice. We had to go into the libraries. We had to go into research libraries as well to get this information because we didn't have social media to, change the narrative around now. So it and I don't think that you were being facetious when you said if your life was on the line, when you're speaking to the brother there and saying, if you had to save yourself, what is it you're going to say? It's we have to know these things now, and we have to give the sources of where we know where we heard this from, because that becomes dangerous when we start giving out some half truths, and then because you've got people out here like myself who as a student and wants to learn and needs to know these things, and if somebody is giving me partial information, but they don't have the sources to show me, that's where it becomes dangerous because you're not giving out the proper information. So it's not there wasn't an attack there. It was just like, what would you say if you had to save your life? You need to tell us what you know, even if you don't have all the information in front of you, and you know certain things that you study. That stuff is going to stick with you.
yeah, like I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example.
For that, sis.
People have a specific blood type. If you were rushed to the hospital and they didn't know what blood type you need, they wouldn't say, well, I think. They would find out exactly what blood type you have so they could give you that, or they'd have to give you the, all Okay, like that's a way out of it.
It depends on what hospital you at.
Now listen, the point I'm trying to make is if you went into the hospital and you had an allergy, right? And you knew what your allergy was, and they said to you, "What's the matter?" You'd be like, "Oh, I got an allergy." They'd be like, "Okay, what is it?" And then they go, like, "Okay, boom." If you went in there and there was something wrong with you and you didn't know, would you tell the doctor, "Oh, it's this"? You tell him, "I don't know. Something's wrong with me. Help me, doctor." You'd be as honest as fucking possible. This is the shit that we need to understand. We'll do that shit when our life's on the line. We'll do that shit when it come down to money or whatever the case may be. Why won't we do it in pursuit of real information? Why are people afraid to say, "I don't know"? Not what you think.
Right.
I don't like, see what I'm saying? Do you see the difference between "I don't know" or "well, I think"? Because when you start suggesting what you think, now you defend your position. And if you're wrong, now you're getting into it, defending a position that you're wrong at because you haven't come to a conclusion. And now you got people out here teaching that haven't come to a proper conclusion. They're teaching what they think. That's it.
I see what I'm with you now. I see the point you was making though.
And that's fine. The process of going through, thinking through something, that's fine. But you ain't supposed to be like, if your ankle is healing, you're not supposed to be out running on it. You got to let it heal. And then once it's healed strong, now you can go out here and do the things that you're accustomed to doing with it. You're not going to get the proper result if you're out here running around on a sore ankle. Well, if you're still thinking about something, just think about sports. If you're thinking about a move, you don't do it as fluently as you know the move, and it's instinct now, right? Same thing. When you have to think about something, you don't function as well as when it's an innate part of you. See what I'm saying? So if you're still thinking about something, it's not yours. You're still working it out. So what are you doing trying to push on other people? Unless you come to them like, "Yo, this is a working hypothesis. Let's see if we can put our heads together to come up with something." That's one thing, right? But you got to be honest by saying, "Well, we don't know if it's exactly this." People not doing that.
Right.
And then they're not gathering the right resources. If you want to talk about indigenous nations, like just for example, if we want to really learn about Harriet Tubman, we're going to go get all the information we need. And if we got opportunity to speak to somebody that might be her family or might be directly connected to her, you're going to want to do that too. If you shoot a documentary on somebody, ain't you going to want to have that person in the documentary to authenticate your documentary?
Facts.
So if you're going to talk about Harriet Tubman not being real, wouldn't you need to somehow authenticate it by talking to somebody or something that was close to her, not just reading what's in the books? Because isn't this what we say? "Oh, the shit written in the books is a lie."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So in one moment, what's written in the books is a lie, but on the other moment, you're going to use only what's written in the book to deny this woman's existence.
You can't have your cake either too.
Yeah. Now, if wait. Library of Congress has proof. Now go to the research and stop talking on research. What?
Library of Congress ain't shit but a library.
No, I don't know, because I don't know if he's like, because I don't be knowing like research what, because that's what everybody does. They come on here and they say the moon's made of cheese. It's in the Library of Congress. Go look it up, and then they run out the room thinking they did something. I seen the cartoons. The moon's made of cheese. I seen it in the cartoons. I can show you the picture.
In the Library of Congress.
Yeah, then they say, "Go check it out in the Library of Congress," and they run. Rather than drop the link. Drop the link.
Yo,
I gotta go find something for you. Because I don't like.
Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead.
What you were just speaking on, right? I was down there in Groove City, aka Cambridge, Maryland. That's where Harriet was from. Actually, I just happened to come across somebody who was they said they was one of her descendants or actually kinfolk to her.
Man, Harriet Tubman had a brother.
So when you hear that though, I get all that, but what I'm saying is when you hear that though, how do you deny that? How can you deny what their family story was passed down? Because you ain't gonna tell a random nigga this is what I'm related to Harriet Tubman. Like, you know what I mean? So that's something you hold with pride.
You ever heard this is what they said about Noble Drew Ali. They said his literature preceded him, right? The Moore would agree with that. They said his literature preceded him.
Mm-hmm.
Before he stepped into the building, the people knew who he was, what he stood for, right? Because he had a reputation. He was known, right? Why? Because of the works he had already put in, not because of the work he's about to put in. So when we talk about your reputation precedes you, right? It speaks to the work that you've done, to the things you've already done. When you're at that point, then you can start saying, well, I'm going to do this, because you've already built up a cachet of respect from your peers that now you can start talking about certain things in a certain manner because you've already demonstrated certain things, right? So what I'm trying to get across to you is that this is going back to my other point because I never really got to finish it. Like when your work precedes you and people know that you are somebody who's dedicated to this and writing exact on it, like your shit will move in a way that is way more credible and way more people are co-signing, right? So what work precedes any of these people's work that they're piggybacking off of to make these crazy outlandish claims? Whose books are they basing it on? Who's clearly making those assertions? Because I see these people making assertions out of books. And if you continue to read down another few lines, it'll talk about the same people have African ancestry. You know what I'm saying? All the stuff that they keep trying to debate against, where they're getting the bulk of their information from, if you just keep reading down, it totally goes against everything they're presenting. Mm-hmm. Scientifically, culturally, traditionally, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I don't know why people can't see that.
Because it's the humility, as you said, that some people don't want to humble themselves to get into, all right, you know what? I don't know it all. Listen, you don't. Mm-hmm. You haven't gotten to that level where you can, like you said with Noble Drew Ali, it's preceding. You haven't gotten to that level yet. Mm-hmm. So you're always going to have to, put everything you know on the line to become credible. But you also have to practice humility. Yep. Because there's a lot of egotism going on here. And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier on my channel, is that it's almost, there's the beating of the chest, I'm Black and I'm proud. And, you want to say this, but then you're getting upset with Europeans, but you don't understand that if you go back into history, you'll see that, listen, you were enslaving some people yourself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you want to talk about getting restitution and reparations and things of that nature, well, guess what? If you go back into the history of the west coast there of Africa, those people, the chieftains, were selling out their slaves to the Europeans. So it's not this thing. So you're going to have to go back to Africa then and say, listen, what do you say to them? I want my land. Well, what do you say when you find out that your family members were sold out they were slaves, enslaved by the kings and the chiefs out there? It's like it gets aggressive, and it's like there's no need for that. If you humble yourself and you do the research and you get to the nitty gritty of things, you can now surpass that and rise above all this backbiting with each other, debating, instead of joining together and teaching one another.
See, real quick, have you speaking of just on the reparations part that you spoke on briefly? Have you ever heard of the doctrine of the sins of the father aren't the sins of the son?
No.
I mean, I've heard of the concept. I don't know if it's a doctrine or not, but I understand the concept, and I don't.
All right. That comes from, it was sometime in the 2000s. I can't remember exactly. It was a sister who was suing the banks in like Canada and like Northeast, like New York and all that, mm-hmm. and for reparations for slavery. And she was able to kind of prove that these people, these institutions were involved in primary people. But she lost the case on that doctrine. The sins of the father are not the sins of the son, so you can't hold the sins of the son, the sins of the father, against the son. So the
I mean, I'll tell you what. If somebody went and locked my son up for some shit I did, that'd be wrong. Like, I don't even know how we're even discussing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to steer the boat that way. I'm just saying, like, it all because all this debating that's going on YouTube is just trying to make a claim you're set, right? Make claim to certain things,
Mm-hmm.
but it's again, and I'm going to keep saying this: it's the cherry picking of information. You got to tell it all. You can't.
Yeah.
It's a bananas to just give us one narrative because we've been told a narrative for so long. Now you're going to flip. You're going to use that same narrative and Kid Capri remix it on social media. You know what I mean? And then now you got people who are following along with this program, and it's like, oh, okay, well, what they're saying is law. It's not all of it. You got to really go back, and you got to go past the 1800s. You got to go back into the 1400s. Like, you got to go back to that where they were writing things there and cross-reference. Like Brother Turtle said, we got to cross-reference that information. You can't just take that one information and say, okay, that's bond. That's word is bond. No, you got to now go to the other sources and go back and forth. They're not doing that on these panels. They're only giving you this one, monologue.
I tell you this much: on both sides, it becomes a echo chamber. As far as like this whole like little, I ain't want to call it a beef, but just this like discourse between so-called Pan Africans and so-called Aboriginals and all that other stuff. It's everybody just hangs out in their own echo chambers, and like everybody's scared to pop up on another platform or pop up on this platform. Yeah, you're not going to get the same treatment that you get in your echo chamber, but you're going to get different treatment over here. But if we constantly keep going back and forth, eventually we're going to come to it. Let's calm down. Let's actually really talk. You know what I'm saying? Like this whole like, I get what you got going on here. I'm not really like because they don't like me. I'm gonna just tell you that. But outside of that, yeah.
Look,
Go ahead.
it ain't just Dane Calloway.
It's a lot of niggas.
Listen, and I don't, bro. It's people who are out here teaching the so-called black community, whatever people call African American community, however it's people out here teaching that were literally just in prison a couple years ago. And it ain't like they're this.
It's like that Morris shit.
No, it ain't like there's somebody that like totally changed their life around, and while they were in prison, they were helping people learn law and they were getting people out of it. Ain't that story? It's you out now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now they're telling people about issues of morality. Like, bro, I'm sorry. Listen, where I come from, everybody got knowledge of self, right? At some point, you went and got your lessons, right?
Yeah.
We looked at people who got their lessons in jail a little different. Like, you just did it to get for protection. You ain't do it because it's really in your heart. See what I'm saying? So a lot of people are doing things for completely other reasons and trying to stand next to people who are doing it out the heart. You know what I mean? And I have watched since 2015, which seems to be an important year. Yes. Listen, people used to go to lectures with, whether you agree with these Pan-African people or not, these people were accomplished scholars. They taught at universities. They were lectures at universities. It was great scholarship, right? And then it turned into Brother Polites.
Shit. Yeah.
But at least Polite had the same scholarly basis as the teachers who came before him. He mixed the scam shit, but at least he still had the format, like he's still sharp. You know what I'm saying? Right?
He learned two turntables and a mic.
Like, right? And then you still had the even said he brought mad facts.
Right.
Presentations. It was still scholarly, even though it was wild.
Mm-hmm.
We have gotten to a point where we went from the John Henry Clarks to Dane Callaways, and now the Dane Callaways are taking shots at the John Henry Clarks. Right now, this is the thing, and they paint it like these people, John Henry Clarks and these Pan-Africans, were these negative, bad people. Let me tell y'all what Pan-Africanism and what Black Power and all that did for people in the 70s. Right? It gave people who were coming out of the civil rights movements, who never had good jobs, didn't have all these things. It gave people opportunity to get real jobs, to start making some money. Now, yeah, did we lose our independence? I'm not debating that. I'm just saying that whole era, Black Power, the 70s movements, that empowered people of color. Right. So you can retroactively look back on it 50 years, 40 years later and say, oh, that was that Africa shit. But that means y'all wouldn't be where you are now, because you wouldn't have this militant concept if it wasn't for the public enemies. You wouldn't be saying fuck the police if it wasn't for the NWAs. Right? They got all that from the Black Panthers. Right? You got all that from the, you know what I mean? From the, like, they don't know about Move, the event that happened in Philly when they blew up a whole block.
Yeah, the Move bombing in '85.
They don't know about these people. They don't know about the Peace Stones. They don't know about all, or if they do, they know about it from a disintegrated. All I'm saying is Black Power and Black nationality, and that shit helped people get through a time when they really had nothing.
All right, can I present an argument to you?
I don't know why. I don't know how you can argue with it. You can't argue with my mom.
You can't argue with that, because that was a nation within itself. You can't argue that.
I'm not gonna say
argue, listen, hold up. You can't argue that my mother. Listen, I
don't mean argument, but
just stop. Let me finish my point.
All right.
My mother got a job. My mom was a lab technician, right? She would have normally, you would have had, my mom worked on one of the first computers ever in New Jersey. Roxy and Roker were two computers that were installed at Riverview Medical Center in the 70s. Advanced technology. My mother worked directly on the machines. My mom used to do all types of, she was a lab technician, she worked blood work, all this stuff, right? She got those jobs, that job along with her sisters, because of certain programs that were in place that were, you didn't have to go to school to learn this stuff. They taught you on the job, right? So you got a lot of your ancestors and elders who came through a time where that Black Power shit, that identifying with Black, that Black and proud, and that Africa Daishiki shit propelled them into a better place. Now we look back on it, and because the youths haven't taken up the traditions, like ain't no more Sanford and Son, ain't no more of the things that keep your communities going, because those are eradicated now, and people don't want to, they don't even want to work no more. You got people quitting career jobs. Like, it's a whole bunch of shit that's changed the mentality of people. And because things aren't so easy, now they want to say, oh, they hiding this and they doing this. They hid more from your ancestors who worked twice as hard.
Yep, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And now everything is right here for you, and you complaining. When your ancestors went through shit way worse, because those of us who grew up in these times, we still saw it. You know what I'm saying? We remember when Rodney King was a big issue, because it's the first time the world got to see somebody get beat up on video camera. But guess what? In our neighborhoods, we've seen it all the time. But that was brand new to the world. People live in a world now where you can scroll and see people getting beat up by the cop every other day. It's a regular thing, right? But we remember when it wasn't that way. So what's that say? We can see the difference. Like y'all can't, the younger people can't see the difference. We see the difference. We seen how the educational system's been dumbed down. We know the difference. I was in school, they had music class. Do they got music class in school no more? You know what I mean? They didn't have, my son didn't have music.
No, some of them, yeah. Some
You
schools.
know what I mean? Yeah, probably art schools, but when we was growing up, you had a music class, just like you had a gym class.
Yeah.
Right.
That's culture. See what I'm saying? They go back to the 1820s. When you graduated 8th grade, you had what is the equivalent
master in college.
You could balance your books and everything.
Yeah. Like the 8th grade back in the 1800s, they like the 8th grade in the 1900s.
And they've been steady dumbing people down. And now the pandemic is like they kick that shit into extra gear. And they got everybody in front of the computers, and they got all these weird teachers who aren't even qualified. People who are paying to go see real scholars who traveled around the world, just paying to see weirdos arguing online with no credibility.
Yo, actually, Turtle, you ever seen I think it was a 1875, 1895 8th grade test from Kansas, if I remember correctly. The questions on that test, you damn near gotta be like about to graduate college to answer them questions. That speaks to that whole dumbing down process you were just talking about.
Absolutely. Look, they'll say things like, "Oh, your grandfather didn't graduate high school. He never went to high school."
Yeah.
Coming out of 8th grade. So you can't make me feel bad by saying my grandfather didn't, he only had an 8th grade education. I know what an 8th grade education was back then.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? You can't hit me with that to make me feel like, oh, we come from a certain type of people. No, I know my history. I know what our people did. Our people was getting out of school because they had land, they had farms. Like shit, I get up out of here, I got my farm waiting for me.
Bruh.
They were doing trades. They vocation.
You ain't need all that. Like,
yo, bro, you say you got a farm waiting for you?
No, I'm saying
no.
I was just saying. That's
gone. But we did have like up into the 80s.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I was about to say because if you have one waiting for you, bro, please make sure you try to keep that because the shit I'm going through right now is it's hard. Keep your family tight. Keep your family right. That's all I'm gonna say on that because one great ancestors disappeared. When your grands and all that become ancestors, it gets real ugly. It gets real ugly. That's all I'm gonna say on that. But
exactly. They have real skilled trades. So it's no shot that your grandparents didn't finish 8th grade or didn't go to high school because they were skilled laborers. They were being taught hands on. My great grandmother, she in Jamaica, on my mother's side, she only had a 3rd grade education, is what I was told. But that woman was able to get not only one house in the Bronx, but buy another house in Westchester County, was saving her own money. Her husband, they both worked, but my great grandmother, not having a higher education, if you will, she was still able to know how to keep her books in order, save her money, and was able to buy 2 homes. So, that doesn't matter if the ancestors didn't have higher learning education. They were skilled workers. They know how to finance, do better finances than we do now. They were able to achieve land and multiple things in their life, patents, create things, inventions. I mean, this coding thing is new now, and that's great and everything. But there's one woman, and her name escapes me, but I really look up to her and admire her accomplishments. She had, I don't know, over 20 patents. But the one patent that I remember that she created was for women's women's menstrual pads. She created the belt to hold up the maxis, and that was back in the 30s or something like that. So I mean, black woman. So and we hear this all along.
The thong too. Sound like the thong. It's probably the creation of the thong.
It was actually the precursor to where the stuff sticks now on its own, but she so it didn't shift. But yeah, probably it probably was a precursor to that. But what I'm saying is that there was inventors here, so don't worry about school books. These people were making things happen out of nothing.
See our pattern.
They were creating culture. They were creating like. So okay, so let me see if I can wrap this up and try and bring this all together. Today's show was about misinformation, absolutely, right? Dane Calloway is the face of misinformation right now, but he's not the only one, right? And true, he has presented some information that is accurate. That's nobody's denying that, right? The issue is that this whole narrative of trying to suggest that African Americans are the original Indians and using people who are of that ancestry to prove it without speaking directly to those people, I think that's disingenuous. Now, it's one thing if you got a whole tribe of people, right? Historian, and they sit you down and tell you this is our story, boom, and they can connect everything and start laying it all out, and they say we from here and we don't got nothing else. I don't got nothing to say. I'm like, okay, cool, right? But the people I'm hearing saying all these things are from nations that I know are connected to my nation, and then they go, we ain't all the same people. I'm like, yeah, but you are. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because I know my history.
Yeah.
Right? I know my history, right? So I know what people's tribes are come from our people. Simple as that. So when I hear someone that is attached, whose nation is attached to my nation, who's attached to this, right? And they're saying otherwise, I know that they're just saying stuff. It's not valid. You know what I mean? And if others don't know that, like I don't know. How do you know when somebody's lying to you? Y'all can't tell?
Yeah.
You know when somebody's lying to you. You should be able to tell. I don't know how old you are, but
you can't explain, but you just know.
You should know when somebody's not comfortable with the things coming out their mouth. You should be able to tell the difference between somebody when he's just talking and when he's reading, right? When Dane Calloway is reading, he sounds intelligent. When he's just talking, he's the wildest moron in the world. And I'm going to put this video up tomorrow. I'm gonna put this video up tomorrow. I wish I could have played a little bit of it for you tonight. And this man talks about burning his ancestors.
What?
This man talks about ceremonies where he said, yeah, some of my ancestors had above ground burials. He said, yeah, we put them up on stilts or something.
No, he learned that from the fucking Sioux, who actually used to put the dead up in the trees and let them rest before they put them in the ground.
He learned that from my documentary that he watched. Show that very procedure. I know where this boy, everything he's ever said about me, and you'll hear it in this documentary. He says I copy off him. He says I'm trying to be like him. I don't know, but I'm kind of
nah, Turtle.
You know what I'm saying?
What you got to do, but I hope you can. Cause if I remember correctly, you had to parse up and you kind of took it back. That one is an Indian, not an Indian. One is
that was from you. That was the doc.
That was like 7 years ago or some shit like that, bruh.
That's
I
what
think
changed.
that video sparked Dane, to be honest with you, because that
I know
video
it sparked a
was
lot of people, bro. I know what it did. I absolutely know that it sparked him because I'm gonna show you it in this documentary. He talks about he learned about these things in 2015. It's no coincidence. Like,
yo, ask Lavelle.
let
Because
me
there's a video where Dane, he was speaking about Black Wall Street down in North Carolina. That when he was speaking, Lavelle, he'll tell you about
yeah.
C.C. Spalding, Aaron Moore, and all that good stuff. Who actually were some of the founders of Black Wall Street down in Raleigh.
Let me just share a little bit of this before I get out of here.
But yeah, y'all.
Times it was just to impress people.
At one point in the
Hold
video,
up.
Dane made an assertion that he dishonestly framed as a question.
So the question remains, how was Harriet Tubman cognizant of the routes ranging from southern to northern parts of these lands and all the way to Canada with her being an alleged runaway slave?
Let me get to some good
Here we
work.
have what can generously be called a straw man fallacy. I say generously because a straw man fallacy consists of substituting an argument with a distorted, exaggerated, or misrepresented version of the argument.
Pseudologia fantastica. Pseudologia fantastica. Pseudologia fantastica.
Yeah.
And it referred to people who told multiple outrageous lies that would border on the fantastic.
No historian who understands the underground.
So what I'm telling you is this man could be diagnosed as having pseudologia fantastica. Exaggerated lies that are so big they're beyond scope. Anyone that tells you Harriet Tubman did not exist suffers from pseudologia, whatever the hell it is. And we're about to drop it real soon.
Yeah, hell of a claim to prove, yo.
Here he is talking to his grandfather.
You know what I'm saying? Started taking me to reservations and showing me my family. In South Carolina, he took me to one of the what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? PD reservations, PD Indian reservations. In fact, they throw me a birthday party every year. But and so my grandmother has Eastern Band Cherokee, and so does my father. And my father, when I visit him, he's similar to me, but he's more like I'm not trying to knock my father, but he's more radical. That's the word. He's more radical. He's more adamant about on his approach about talking about our family and because of what happened as far as immigration. He's North Carolina. I'm not exactly trying to state where because people can start pinpointing stuff. But and I did that before and I got in trouble. So I'm kind of like quiet, like it's elaborate. Trying to back over that time. Let them know exactly this. Exactly. I'm using my real name.
This nigga's scared. Nobody's scared, man. I just told you I had a teacher said he like that shit.
Like you're the only one that uses your real name.
But my father also schooled me on to.
When I tell you the outlandish shit this man says,
Yo,
hold on, listen to this shit. I'm gonna give y'all some little.
I can't lie. Dane don't like me, so ever since that nigga blocked me out of the blue, I ain't been fucking with him.
So here's something else for you.
Live on Facebook and started showing.
Wow.
We about to get our land back. That's what I was trying to get my grandfather's land back in West Virginia because they had took it in taxes and told him not to claim that he was Indian. But I showed that on Facebook. My very first Facebook video that went viral was 7 million views in a day.
I used to be able to throw a pigskin quarter mile.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
And then my second one was the very next day, and that hit 7 million. And I showed down, look, we going to court and how we won. And I still got that land to this day.
That's what I'm talking
But because he gone now. You know, of course he passed this year. I had to bury him this year.
Here we go. He about to talk about
based off of what he put in his will. He gave me some property. And
let me get to the hibachi grill. He about to burn his parents up, and then I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah,
because I just never asked. Y'all just telling me this now. My family, it was like, well, you should have asked. Because once I started, I mean, but I think my grandfather stepped in once he saw I was going the wrong route. I was like, all right, let me tell you what's going on. Why y'all just telling me this now?
This nigga's straight line. What the fuck? Nigga, get your story straight. So,
facts.
Start with the Eastern Band Cherokee, right? Yeah. First, let them know they got a drug problem on their motherfucking reservation.
Facts.
Call around to see if anybody knows you. Yeah.
And right after that, I started asking more questions, like, and that's how I got in contact with my pop's side of the family, because my pops was like, all right, come down here, let me show you what's going on. But yeah, so I got the majority of my family already set. Like most of them are in tribes, and some of them choose not to. But like my aunt Kat, just one of the, I'm not gonna state that particular tribe, but she just got her house built because of the tribe. She had to wait for 8 months for the house to get built, but they paid for it based off of her fighting, because they tried to claim that she was a freedman, and she was like, no, I'm not no freedman. But she won it in court. I could say North Carolina, I can tell you that, but she got a whole, matter of fact, she not only got a house, she got a little nice little Toyota truck off of that too. They basically gave her money that was owed. Some of that.
Now,
some of the,
you've heard us talking about stuff all night. Does any of this sound authentic? And this is an interview he's doing, talking about
hell to the no, to the no.
Listen, he said, let me get to the, okay, here we go.
No, please stop. Cause I'm hurting here right now.
I'm out of here for the night.
Yo.
okay, what about the birds?
I mean, birds just don't go around attacking people without no reason. You know what I mean?
Oh, hold on. Let me, because he's talking about the bodies. Hold on.
Let me get the Thunderbird attacks people.
I went to a couple ceremonies already, and I learned some things that's new. That's how I knew that certain people in my family are buried above ground. That was new to me. I never seen that done before. I was like, okay, what about the birds? Like, are they gonna get to them? But it's like they got this. They have these special type of sheets that block all that weather type stuff and birds from messing with the, you know.
Yo, this motherfucker is reaching. This nigga said weather type stuff.
This nigga said he watches people be buried above ground.
Listen.
I was like, okay, what about the birds?
I mean, birds just don't go around attacking people without no reason. You know what I mean?
I think we're in real trouble. Huh?
Like, are they gonna get to them? But it's like they got this, they have these special type of sheets that block all that weather type stuff and birds from messing with the, you know.
It's how science, man. It's art form. Yeah.
And they keep them up on, I want to say, stilts.
Waking up every day, first thing we're thinking about is the stilts. Moko Jambi is life in Trinidad and Tobago.
Scavenge. So you literally come in the studio and then formulate sentences in your head.
Yeah. For quite some time. It is a time period that they do it, then they end up taking it down. Eventually we'll have to go to a different ceremony where they burn the body.
So you literally come in the studio and then formulate sentences in your head.
What these niggas talking about?
They burn the body. You know what burial means, nigga? Do you know what burial means? Dame Calloway is insane.
So I guess he's burial.
This man said above ground burials, and then they burn the body. Is it an above ground burial or is it burning the body? Make up your mind, bro.
Nugget.
I'll tell you, this man, if he's not reading out of a book, he can't even formulate sentences properly.
Nugget. Yo. All right, no. Turtle Gang.
Want to really give credit to. He just said, and if you tune in tomorrow and you see the whole thing, he's going to talk about 2 of his ancestors that they burnt. And he even goes as far as saying that they put them, he talks about them barbecuing his motherfucking ancestors. says they put them on.
What?
He said it's like they're carrying a casket.
Shit.
Tune in tomorrow. They're carrying in a casket and they lit the fire. And they burned. He said he did it to his aunt and his grandfather.
What kind of Wiccan shit? What the?
Bro, I've been to tons of ceremonies. We have never
burned the goddamn body. Yo, oh my god! All right, he never really proved that shit. Like that, nah.
You could never prove it. That's insanity.
I know, but I'm just saying. I'm trying to give him that, you know, that 0.1% of a doubt. Like, nigga, prove it. But
nigga, listen. What he described is a fucking crime,
bruh. Oh my
we
god.
might all be part and parcel of it if we don't report this shit. This man confessed to a crime. You can't get rid of a body, bro. You can't burn it on the beach. You definitely can't burn it in your backyard. Where are you doing these ceremonies at? Now,
I ain't gonna lie. I just think I'm from Dane come across my shit. What was it, like 3 days ago? It says subscribe to the 13th something. The 13th, something 13th. That's all I remember. I'm like, hold on, nigga, why are you choosing 13th?
Mm-hmm.
And now we putting this math. The math is starting to math.
Let me tell you, this man don't know nothing he's talking about. And there's another thing too. I'm gonna tell y'all another thing. Let me just start throwing this shit out there. A lot of people be running around here saying peace to the gods. Peace, God. Peace to the gods. I be hearing everybody talking peace to the gods. Well, guess what? That come from a culture, 5% culture.
Yeah.
Now, when we say peace to the gods, if you not 5%, the gods will be like, who the fuck is you, God? Right? The gods will make you show and prove. If you're using that terminology, okay, God, how you see the day's degree? Right? Gonna take you through it, make you responsible for the shit that coming out your mouth. Right? You can't be saying it because it sounds cool. So I go on these Aboriginal channels, they be like, peace to the gods, peace to the gods. Right? So I'm gonna put y'all up on something. The first lessons you get is your student enrollment, right? Student enrollment lesson number 3 is what is the total population of the original nation in North America and all over the planet Earth? The answer is the total population of the original nation in North America is 17 million plus the 2 million Indians, making the total 19 million and 4,400,000,000 all over the planet Earth. So our lessons identify who the original man is, and it includes Native American Indian, right? Our lessons also tell us that we are the Asiatic black man.
Mm-hmm.
And this come out of the Muslim lessons.
Yep.
Right? So what I'm trying to tell you is all these people running around here talking about God, they don't even know the lessons to be making that claim, because you don't run around communities where this culture is really from, just like you don't go around a Crip community throwing up gang signs if you're not Crip.
What up, blood?
Yeah, you don't be like, what up, blood, if you're not blood. So all this cool shit, peace to gods. Okay, I'm out here, and when you run that peace to gods, I'm how you see today's degree, God. I'm exposed that they don't have got mathematics, they don't got nothing. Everything that they use to present themselves as being authentic is borrowed from another culture that they never even committed to. Because if they committed to the culture, they would have known that student enrollment lesson number 3 has to deal with who the original man in North America is. And it includes the Native American Indian. So how you telling me you God, but you don't even know the degrees? Why? Because it's cool shit that people be saying. And all this shit is cool shit that people be saying. It's cool to be Indian now.
Just like him and dance.
That don't mean that anybody out here who's pursuing that and they got Indian ancestry, that's not a slight at you, right? But it's other motherfuckers out here that want to emulate you and want to make your claims and will use your ancestry and your history to bolster their claims, and they ain't got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I seen a nigga who was like a couple of years ago. he ain't never really substantiated his claims. Like you just seen me and cousin LaBelle just chop it up real quick. There was another nigga who was out here on the YouTube streets and he was claiming that ancestry, and he was actually coming from cousin Milton's book.
Yeah,
Nigga, that shit had me hot. I ain't gonna lie, that shit had me hot. Like I was ready to pull up on a nigga just cause like nigga, that ain't you. I could tell because you're not spitting it right, you don't know it. And so that ain't you.
So before we get out of here, absolutely, I would definitely like to have you up on the show one day. You could share all this information with us. You know what I mean? Because I know something about the Indian culture. You know what I'm saying? I know something about it. So we definitely like to have a conversation with you about all this information that you dropping on us. You know what I'm saying? Have it articulated would probably we learn more. You know what I'm saying? Like to find out who you are and what your connection is and all that, because those things mean something to me. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
like that's what I mean when I say your reputation precedes you. You know what I'm saying? Like we want to be able to learn from people, but their reputation should precede them. You should know who these people are before you start learning from them. You know what I'm saying? So, learning from somebody is not just learning the information. You know, you want to get to know the person, the energy, where they coming from. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a part of me learning. So I'm definitely taking in the things that you're saying today. And it's very like, don't think I'm overlooking it. I'm reading it all. I just rather have a conversation so we can really get into it. So whenever you want to come up, please do and share what you need. And anybody out there, Aboriginals, whoever, if you can come show and prove for it, you are more than welcome. But just don't insult myself, my viewers, my equals by trying to make us believe anything on face value. Like I said, when we say peace, God don't take nothing on face value. Ain't no mystery gods, right? So if you're gonna say something, you should be able to show and prove for it in that moment, or why say it? You know what I mean? And if you live by that,
right.
A lot of these conversations that we get caught up back and forth in, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, people who know don't argue, they build.
Right.
People who don't know argue. People who don't know think about it. People who know about it do it. That's why I say I could show you better than I could tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So start making these people show you. That's what my whole platform was built on. Before I started telling you, I started showing you. Because I wanted my reputation to precede me.
Hey,
right?
Hey,
So,
my bad. All right, real quick. What do you say to? All right, because in this little paradigm we got, right? It's the so-called people that are claiming to be Indian. Like they're the ones who are put on the forefront now, and they're the ones who have to prove it. But at the same time, the people that are trying to get them to prove it, they don't have to prove it on their end of what they're claiming. Like,
well, I don't have to prove that I'm who I am when it's understood throughout the world. Just because you question it, don't mean I have to prove it. See what I'm saying? You're walking into it's like walking into a gym, right? And you're the new person in that gym. You have to prove who you are to everybody. You got to make the team. We're already in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm already on the team, bro. I don't got to prove to you I can make the team. I already made it. I did what I did to make the team. You got to prove it. It's on you. You can't come in here. This is what I mean. Another thing, like people destroy, they don't build, right? But if you come in and build, you destroy automatically. Because when you build, you add a positive, and that positive does away with the negativity. So you don't have to destroy the negative when you build it, because that's the byproduct of building. When you come in and you're destroying shit, you're just doing that. You're just destroying shit. Now you come build and you're going to like, you think of a piece of paper, an empty piece of paper. You could scribble over it to fill the paper up, or you could just draw something, and the more you add to it, the more negative space you take up.
Mm-hmm.
You don't got to rip the paper in half. You ain't got to do nothing. All you got to do is keep adding to it, and then you're going to look up and you're going to have this beautiful design that never existed on that piece of paper. It's there now because you built, because you added it. You added on, not because you ripped the paper in half. And now I only got to add but so much and it's full. You know what I'm saying? So when we build to destroy. We don't come to destroy, because if you build them properly, destroying is going to be a byproduct of it. You know what I'm saying? This is the stuff I talk about when I say we the gods. This is stuff that's in our lessons. So we know how to conduct ourselves when we come across people, even people we don't agree with.
All right, so Turtle, would you say, let's just say you got your own personal belief, does that make you less or more of an Indian? Or any, whatever you claim?
All right, so we'll put it this way. If you come into a league, right? I like sports. If you step into a league, right, where they have set rules, right? Now, okay, you can do things differently, but you still got to go by the rules. Like this person shoots with the right hand, this person shoots with the left hand. See what I'm saying? Like that's your personal thing. I'm right-handed, he's left-handed. But shooting, the bucket is going, the points is going to be the same. If you shoot a three-pointer, it's a three-pointer. Your opinion ain't got nothing to do with that. See what I'm saying? There are rules you have to go by. The sneakers you want to wear on the court, that's your opinion. See what I'm saying? All that. The point I'm making is the rules that are the standard, you can't change those, even though your opinion may be in. So when you're coming to a space and you're claiming that you're something, you have to, the burden of proof is on you, not on the people who you're claiming it to. See what I'm saying? Like you're the one, like whoever is now moving into a space where they're saying they're an Indian, right?
Yeah.
It is for them to prove it. You can't go nowhere and say, I'm such and such, and the motherfuckers be like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Where can you go to? You know where you can go? No, I know where you can go. You can go to the school systems, and you can go to all this shit that is now giving everybody a trophy for participation. And now you don't have to do your best. You get a trophy for participating, and people just want trophies because they exist.
Exactly.
And that's what has destroyed, well, is destroying our culture and society, because the youth feel so empowered and entitled when they get everything just like that. You know what I'm saying? So my truth don't mean nothing until I get 80,000 views. See what I'm saying?
But you know what, Turtle? It's not even it's not all just the youth. I'm learning that it's people that are our age that are, it's like they're destroying what they learn. Like it's a weird paradigm, because it's not even the youth. Like the younger, I would say the 25-year-olds and under, they could care less what we're talking about. Like it's either take it or leave it. Some of them are interested and they'll go about it, but it's like the mid 30s to 40 is somewhat, in between that space. There's this battle that it's like, I don't know if it's ego, whatever the case may be, but it's like we're too old to be doing all this battling back and forth. Like those elders, those scholars who were out there and doing these lectures, like the John Henry Clarks and the Phil Valentines and etc. James Bond, they weren't battling each other like that. They could agree and disagree humbly. Right? That's the humanity. And they would still, Dr. Delbert Blair, they're all different schools of thought, but there's this commonality at some point, and they would still, it wouldn't be this debating back and forth with each other. And this our generation, the 40-something-year-olds down to the 30s, mid 30s something, it's this back and forth. Instead of just taking the moment to sit back and listen, really digest what you're learning there. And if you're not getting what you need to be fed through that, then you leave it, you poop it out, and you keep it moving. But this debating with people who are older, that is crazy. It's not even the youth. This is our age group that's going back and forth with each other. Like, this ridiculous.
Because the lack of
You're supposed to be
education.
teaching the youth, and you out here debating with your peer. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know, I got into a debate one day with he was 14, and he's telling me about a pair of Jordans that didn't come out in 1989. And I'm like, my cousin had them. Now, mind you, this kid's mother was born in 84. And he's arguing with me about something that happened in 89 that I literally experienced. And then he goes to me, I'll go to Google. And I'm like, so you think Google can trump my actual life experience? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. I said, on top of the fact that this is what killed him, I said, bro, you know I'm a sneakerhead, right? Like, you know, I come from, like, I'm first generation sneakerhead. So what I'm trying to tell you, young man, is that these sneakers I'm telling you about, my cousin who's a sneakerhead, he still has them. See what I'm saying? Like, he literally still has them. Like, my cousin still has first generation Jordans from 86 when they came out. You know what I'm saying?
He got bank sitting right there.
Because we're really, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm trying to tell the young boy, I'm not saying this to you knowing that you can't prove me wrong. I'm saying this to you knowing at the end of the day, I'll go get this sneaker. I'll call cousin up right now and have him take a picture and send it to me now. You know what I mean? Because I know it's the actual truth. He's going on what he thinks. And he can support what he thinks. He could pull up all the evidence on the phone that says those sneakers did not come out. You know what I'm saying? But what he's not going to know is that, nah, bro, them sneakers came out, but they was women's Jordans. And back in the day, to get the dope colors, you had to buy women's Jordans at a larger size. So those purple and black Jordans I'm telling you about, yeah, they never came out for men, but they came out for women.
The
See what I'm saying? Yeah, so the little nuances of it, he don't know. And when he go in here, you know what I mean, it validates what he wants. And on top of that, he's gonna, once he finds what he wants it to say, he's not gonna keep researching. Right. So for everything that validates what you believe, you should be looking for something to discredit what you believe. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how you research. You know what I'm saying? So if you think that you're something, as much as you should think that you're not that, until you have definitive proof saying you are. See what I'm saying? Like, and this is the last thing I'm gonna get out of here. When me and my family submitted our paperwork back to the tribe to be repatriated back into the tribe, why was I nervous? Why was I scared? Why did I feel some type of way? Even though I know, because there's always that little percentage of not knowing, you know what I'm saying? And even after everything, I still had that little percentage of not knowing who I am, but knowing, are we going to be accepted fully back into the tribe? See what I'm saying? Still, after all of that, submitting everything, it's just formality. We know who the hell you are. Still waiting for that call, like, you know what I'm saying? But that's the little bit of doubt or not knowing. And if you got even that much, then you probably still got a little work to do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm even talking for myself. You know what I'm saying? Even for myself, it took for my chief to call me and say, oh no, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't even call me because he didn't even think he felt he had to call me. Like, this is just formalities. Give us the paper so we got you on, you know what I mean? I'm sitting here for days waiting for the call back. He's like, oh no, we don't like, but that's the point I'm trying to make about doubt. So when people are saying, I don't really know who I am, I just think I'm Indian, then you should really be, see what I'm saying? Like, you should be so far from making those declarations until you start getting to something that you can feel real solid with, that you could put your life on the line, that your word could be bond.
Yes. Do
You know
your
what I'm
due
saying?
diligence and try to prove what you heard or what you know correct.
Yeah. Stop trying to prove what you heard, prove what you know.
Yeah. It's
Because you won't
better
hear
to know than
because a
if
lot
you
of
know
these
you
people will
know.
say shit and they'll keep saying shit to get you to validate what they're saying, to get you to go look it up, to get you to fucking, you know what I mean, put your shit on it. So now you can validate what they say because they're just saying it to you because they want you to agree with them because they don't truly believe it.
Yeah.
Right? I could be in a room with 1 million people that don't believe what I know, and it wouldn't sway how I feel about what I know.
Yup.
That's the thing. You need no validation, but the others need validation. And if you want to present something to somebody, you have to be able to validate what you present to them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like we shouldn't agree with you. No one should agree with you. You should show us and prove it to us, and then we agree. So whenever you're ready to come up here and show us Andean culture, and they taught the Phoenicians, because it was a slow grind what you was doing. I see now you defending your man Dane, but you're trying to do it
on that, is he?
in a respectful way. No, he's not. He's trying to do it in a respectful way, and that's peace. I appreciate that approach, but I need you to prove this because, like, this is what you would call circumstantial evidence, right? Because to prove that the Phoenicians, like all this is to prove that life came from here first, right? Like let's get to the bottom of what it is, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to suggest the Phoenicians and language because people want to suggest everything came from here first, right? So in order to prove that people came from here first, you need to be starting with bones and things like that, not language, not artifact. You need to start with they found bones older than the bones they found in Africa. And this is where they found them.
Have you ever heard?
That's where the America starts, with these bones. When y'all bring these bones that say this Homo sapiens sapien, not no Homo erectus bones, when they bring the Homo sapiens sapien bones that they find from the Americas that are older than the Homo sapiens sapien bones they find in Africa, then we can start to have that conversation. But to talk about dyes and to talk about all these different things, that's circumstantial evidence that is not dealing with the actual proof. And this is what people do. They prove all this other stuff, and then they try to use that to associate it with the proof they're trying to prove. We don't we need to, nobody is going to say the oldest dye comes from the Andean mountains, therefore mankind must come from the Andean mountains. That won't. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you didn't come from Homo sapiens sapiens. So who did you come from? Because Homo sapiens sapien is modern man. Homo sapiens sapien has a fully developed. Nobody said nothing about chimpanzees. Y'all not getting that right. They're saying that human beings, right, have a common ancestor with chimpanzees. You know who else we have a common ancestor with? Whales. It doesn't mean that we're whales. Whales are mammals too.
Mammals, yeah.
Right? So that means we have a common ancestor with a whale. That don't mean we're whales. Don't mean we came from whales. The whole chimpanzee thing, we didn't evolve from them. It means we have a common ancestor. Y'all are not getting it. If we evolved from them, there would be no more chimpanzees on the planet. Do you understand how evolution, how it works? If you evolve from a species, you are that species. We're not chimpanzees. We are Homo sapiens sapien, but they all come from the same ancestral pool. That's all it's saying. Ain't got shit to do with us being monkeys. And on top of that, if it's saying that we come from monkeys, it's saying all mankind. It's not saying black people. It's saying all mankind. So even that premise is flawed. You see what I mean when I talk about your prepositions are flawed, so you're never going to come out what you say we evolved from. Listen, technically, human beings are considered apes. Technically, that's what the whole bathing ape clothing line is about. We're bathing apes. Like in the go look up the science of it. It's going to tell you human beings, we come from the ape family. We're bipedal. We walk on two legs. What makes you think that another creature that walks on two legs on the planet ain't somehow related to you? A Homo sapiens sapien is what we are. That's called the wise man, right? That's the reason why you were able to survive on the planet, why the Neanderthal isn't here, why the Homo erectus isn't here, because they didn't have a fully developed frontal lobe. So, and like you might take this as an insult, but human beings' frontal lobes don't fully develop until they're like 27. That's what they call maturity.
Right.
A lot of the things you're saying, you might not be 27 yet.
Hey, what did you say? Homo sapien?
Homo sapiens sapien. If y'all haven't heard of this stuff, where have you been?
No, I've heard of it. I've never heard this definition. You said it means wise man.
Nobody said we was apes. You don't have to believe it. That's the thing. You're like the world don't revolve around your belief system. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to believe it.
Oh,
we
so
are
means
Homo
wise.
sapiens don't exist no more. We're Homo sapiens sapien.
And that
See,
means
this is
wise.
Yes, it translates to wise man.
And I'm asking that because I was reading like years ago, anyway, about like 5 years ago, I was reading the Blue Letter Bible, and the word God actually it was. I traced it back to wise man.
Those two don't even interlock, like because you're talking language.
No, it just struck me because when you said that, I'm like, yo, all right, I heard that before and I seen it, blah 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 blah. I don't get down with the whole evolution and all that stuff. That's not my forte. So
It's nobody's forte unless you're a scientist. You know what I'm saying? You're commenting on things that you don't know nothing about.
No, when we talk about scientists, though, we got to make sure we're specifying what science we're talking about because, like, there's this whole broad brush going on where we're saying, "Oh, it's science. Oh, it's science. It's science. It's science." There's a difference between science of how a AA battery works and science of.
That's still under science, though. Like now, we're getting caught up in the semantics of things. You know, when you hear science, bro, when you hear science, you automatically know it's about biology, evolution, chemistry.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the same time, there's a science of biology, there's a science of chemistry, there's a science of. Well, we got to be specific in what we're talking about.
My ankle, I'm not going to go to the dentist, bro. If I say I'm going to the doctor because I sprained my ankle, you know I'm not going to the dentist, right?
Even if you might say you go to the doctor.
Bro, is it safe to say that if I sprain my ankle and I say I'm going to the doctor, you know I'm not going to the dentist, right?
But if I'm saying we're talking about science.
See what I mean? You're playing semantics, bro.
No, I'm not. Because we're talking about science. I'm not going to sit there and say I know science because science is this and science is that. But then we're talking about two completely different sciences. I'm talking about taking gas and aquifying and making water out of it, and you're talking about the origins of man. Two different sciences.
It's still under the umbrella of science, though.
So you don't think that we're intelligent?
You got to specify which type of science.
Nah, if you know, if I
you don't understand no science, bro. You couldn't make a light bulb, my nigga. You couldn't make a light bulb.
Nigga,
I'm not saying that to be insulting to you.
No, I've already made a light bulb, so that I didn't need to know the origins of man to make a light bulb.
Oh my God.
There's two sciences.
Bro, are you a scientist?
Yes, we all are.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. Don't tell me what I am, bro. Don't tell me.
You live the first rule of science every day.
Oh my God. But I have enough
observation.
Y'all
every day, don't.
All right. So listen to what I'm saying. I be having to mute motherfuckers. Listen to me. I'm nice as hell. I can ball. I will ball the average basketball player. I will ball the shit out of you. I don't call myself a fucking basketball player. I don't identify as that because this motherfuckers in the NBA that fucking live that shit. That get up every day and eat and drink and sleep and train. Nigga, I just go to the park and play ball. I don't see myself as being on the same level as somebody who has dedicated their life to it because I respect them. So why would you say we all scientists when it's people who have dedicated their life to it and they have gone to school for years and they have produced things and they have added on to the scientific field with things? How can you put yourself in that category?
What's the
This is
definition of science?
delusional, bro. I don't like talking to people who get delusional, bro. This is
It's
what I
not
mean.
what's the definition of science. I'm speaking very clearly and very succinctly, direct.
You aren't qualified to have any scientific conversations. If we were, we'd be scientists. That's the only thing that qualifies you. We're talking opinion.
Science, systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation. You observe life every day.
Okay, then a baby scientist.
We've been sitting here talking about on your life is a form of science because you've been observing what and we're doing with this whole identity crisis, and now you're putting your observation to the public.
You're not a scientist. You're not qualified.
I don't play games, bro. You should know this by now. I don't play fucking games. Just because you don't like what I'm saying.
Bro, you're not qualified. You haven't reached
again. All right, so what's the difference between a scientist who gives you a drug and a scientist who can send your ass to the goddamn space? Are they the same science? Are they the same science? No, they're not.
I gotta get rid of this nigga, bro. Because I like this is what I mean when I be talking about motherfuckers be just filibustering and saying what the fuck ever come out their mouth. Let me finish this up. Homo sapiens sapien. Like he's up here talking about science and what a like, bro, come on. Homo sapiens sapien. If you don't like, fine, whatever. But this is not my definition. I didn't make this shit up. None of this shit do I make up. This is what has preceded us for as long as we've been here, right? What is a Homo sapiens sapien? To define Homo sapiens sapiens, we must recall the definition of modern Homo sapien. Homo sapiens, the wise man, and that is just what a Homo sapien is. Homo sapien is the subspecies that stems from Homo sapien. The subspecies consists of only modern humans. Only modern humans. Homo sapiens sapien is the scientific name for humans. So when did modern humans first appear? This subspecies was the first distinguished about 160,000 years ago in Africa. Now, when you produce something else that says other, then we can have the conversation. Like all this, we found some dyes in a boot off the shore of, and this hanging off this mountain. No, we're not talking about no dye. We're not talking about coffee beans. We're talking about human bones. Where are the oldest ones they found? No, bro, I kicked you off because you be going on and on about nonsense, trying to argue your point because you just can't be humble and say, let's get to what we're really talking about. So now you're arguing about words and science. It's late. I don't got time for that. It's 2:50. I've been trying to get off here for an hour. And you want to extend this conversation over some science shit that you are not a scientist. And I'm not insulting you because I'm saying I'm not a scientist either. And just because you telling me I observe things, I'm a scientist, no, that's delusional. That's delusional. That's the shit that got us having this conversation. Right? Dane Calloway, if that's the case, then he's a scientist because he's observed a lot of things in his life. Like, have respect for people that dedicate their lives to things. You can't lump yourself into that category. I went and tried out for a semi-pro basketball team, and 2 hours into practice, I told them people, I'm good. Yeah, I can ball, but y'all live this shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all wake up at 5 a.m. and go jogging. You know what I did before I came to this practice? I decided to smoke one blunt last night. That's my preparation. See what I'm saying? I'm not dedicated to this. Mm-hmm. Why am I going to sit up here and try to act like I deserve a spot on that team? And I was smoking a blunt last night, and it's another dude over here that was training and doing everything, you know what I mean, to get ready. Why? Because these processes happen over thousands of years. You don't wake up in the morning and now you're a different species. Like, damn, why don't you see your child grow on a daily basis? Because it's happening so slow in front of you. You have to mark it on the wall and keep checking them, you know what I mean, at month intervals. And you'll see the difference. If you stare at your child, you will not see them grow. So you're asking why we can't see growth? Because these things happen over thousands of years. Nobody has to observe it over thousands of years. You're the product of it. Like, y'all think you think you be asking good questions? Who observed this over thousands of years? That shit, I don't, I'm at a loss.
You know what I said, Brother Turtle? Sometimes too much knowledge for certain people is not good. Because even though they're obtaining this information, some people can't handle that type of knowledge. And so their mind can't comprehend it. And they just saying stuff. And it's like, no, just because you know it, it doesn't really make sense. And you know, on my channel, that's why I'm like, you know, I have to be careful because I'm not a scholar. I didn't go to school. I'm not trained, but I know a little something about some things by reading and also getting information from people like yourself and others that I've been, you know, subscribed to for years. But I'm not going to say that I'm a scholar or a professional or teacher in that respect, and disregard my ancestors who've been before me, who've been putting in hours of this type of work. I can't even wrap my head around half of this stuff. I mean, to stand on 10 hours in a lecture that these people were giving, Dr. Chris Wilson. I mean, come on, I'm not going to say, I can't sit there and try to, I can't even tap into her. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta really, like, just because you know some stuff doesn't make you the smartest, the sharpest tool in the shed. It's just, you know, it's good to have this information, but you gotta sometimes just sit back and just think before you speak, because it doesn't always come out the way, you know, how you think it may sound intelligent in your head. When you come out and you say it, it's like, no, that don't sound right. That doesn't sound right. So,
see,
you know, I think that's what it is with us. We're too smart for our own damn good.
Yeah, we can be, and not as smart as we think. So I'm gonna show you. First rule of science is to observe. Okay, and have you ever heard if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to see it, did it fall? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it did fall, because when you walk through the forest and you see a tree that fell down, that's the evidence of it. It's not a guess. You see what I'm saying? So anything that happened without someone observing it is a guess. Like, no, bro. Like, I sleep without no one observing me. No one's watching me sleep. I'm sleeping. It's not a guess. See what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna be getting this shit sometimes. It's late. Now we're talking about fossil records in ancient history effectively falsify the hypothesis of the macroevolution of humans. Man first appeared on the scene as fully formed man. Those are words. I don't see no link. I don't see no proper understanding. I just see that as being your opinion. And I don't know why I should attach anything to your opinion other than that it's your opinion. Sleeping isn't the same as, no, we're not talking about the origins of man.
Talking about observation.
We're talking about observation. This is why you're so confused, because you will say anything you can to try and get a win, and all you do is keep digging yourself in a hole, bro. Intelligent people are watching. Like, people that you want to parlay with and connect with are watching. And if you think people don't understand what you're trying to push, whether it be a soft push, you know what I'm saying? Even like, absolutely, I respect how you coming, but you trying to push some bullshit on the people. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to push some research that you probably don't even understand yourself. Who wrote this information you getting out of? What book are you getting it from? Who's the author? Let me read this information and then we can sit down and have a conversation. But I need to get my perspective. I need to read it for myself, because if I allow you to tell me how you see it, I'm only going to get your perspective. So put the link down to where it is, because it's probably a PDF. We could buy it, download it. Y'all ain't really buying books. So put the link in here so I can download this PDF you're reciting, and then we can have this real conversation. Sleeping isn't a guess in the origins of man. Nobody's guessing the origin of man except you. A scientific theory is not a guess.
Mm-hmm.
A scientific theory is not a guess, bro. That's what y'all think. Scientific theories are not guess. Theories and scientific theories. Yeah, I'm going to hook you with Lavelle. I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying? Scientific theories are not the same as theories. Y'all do know that, right? We could go to Google. Like, y'all could actually Google. You could use Google for simple shit. Instead of trying to Google where man come from, Google things like simple definitions, theory and scientific theory. Google that and see everything that goes into a scientific theory, and then see if you would call it a guess. All right. So, sister, thank you for
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Definitely didn't expect to be on here this long. Appreciate everybody. Kaiwa, I appreciate you too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm definitely gonna hook you up with Lavelle. Don't think we gonna like, you know what I'm saying? We real people. I just don't agree with the shit you're saying right now. And that little, you know what I'm saying? All these little passive aggressive things people be doing. I need y'all to prove to me the things you say with a solid bong. Here's my proof, so I could digest it and understand it. But if you're giving me a roundabout things, it's hard to, you know what I'm saying? If you're talking about die to prove a point about, you see what I'm saying? Like, nah, let's talk about, if you're saying man came from the Americas, show us the proof. Show us the oldest cave drawings. You know what I mean? Show us the oldest, like I said, bones being pulled out the ground. Show us the oldest primitive tools. Show us these things. Because if they show that shit is in America and science learns something new and they change it, that's fine. It's just growth. I got no problem with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like, out of Africa theory doesn't affect me. It doesn't change whether or not I'm a member of my people or not. But the out of Africa theory affects other people. And that's why they're trying to move it out the way. So if you need to erase the out of Africa theory, the transatlantic slave trade, and the Underground Railroad, if you need to erase all those to prove that you're Indian, you're probably not Indian. Because you could probably, if you're really Indian, you could prove all that without saying any of that other shit. If you're really Indian, you could prove who you are without talking about anything but your own self. Right? But if you got to talk about first people being from here and you got to change the criteria for what it means to be an Indian, then you're probably not an Indian. The origin have never been observed. So why do you think that your origins, why do you think that your unscientific approach is more valid than a scientific approach? Yes, because of course the origins of man have never been observed. So that means that you're right. Bro, you gotta So let me ask you this. Kaiwa, let me ask you this. So if you, like, all these people who believe all these things, right? What happens when you go sit with your tribe and they're like, nah, that's not our traditions? Are you going to argue with your tribal leaders and get them to change their whole history because you don't agree with it? You know what I'm saying? The idea that humans evolved from an ape-like creature, humans did not evolve from an ape-like creature. Nobody ever said that. And just like, that's the thing. Y'all believe that we believe humans come from ape-like creatures. No one says that. It says we have a common ancestor. Don't y'all get it? Me and my cousin have a common ancestor. We don't come from the same person. Way back, we could have common ancestors. Nobody, like, I don't see how y'all get common ancestor, meaning coming from. Like, that's not what that means. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand that. How are y'all conflating the two? And what science are you using to base it on? Like, what science, what body of science do you have that is your working model? You know what I'm saying? Because the out of Africa, as you call it, out of Africa theory and evolution, they have an intricate working model. Where is your working model? Homo sapien is modern man, bro. Homo sapien is modern man. He looks like the billions of people on the planet. Like, what do you mean? What is Homo sapiens? You're a Homo sapien, bro. Trust me. I'll bet you all the money in the world you're a Homo sapien. I'll bet you anything. Anything in the world, you're a Homo sapien. Like, what are you then? What are you then? If you're not a Homo sapien, what are you? And prove that. That's what we're gonna have the next show. Prove to me, not even to me, prove to yourself that you're not a Homo sapien. All right. When you're ready to do that demonstration, hit me up. I'll open the channel to you and Kiowa, and y'all can do your thing. And if y'all can convince Turtle Gang that y'all right, you know what I'm saying? Homo sapien is the scientific definition of a human being, modern man. There is no difference. Man and Homo sapien are the same thing. Now you're playing word games. I definitely got to get up out of here. Peace, y'all.